Hi guys, I thought I would do a quick little flip through of my finished 31 Minutes for 31 Days album mini book. Sorry, it's in a mini pocket page notebook, and I have popped it into a fabric notebook cover from the stamp spot as well. I'll leave the link to both of those things down below, and there is a code down there for you as well. And if you use that when you check out of the shop, you'll get 20% off anything from the stamp spot, not just the pocket page notebooks, but anything that is in stock at the moment. I did put it into this cover just to protect it a little bit because this is a big book, guys, and it was getting a little bit battered around on my desk, so I thought especially for storing this I would put a cover on it, and this one here just seemed quite perfect for it. I'll be honest, I'm glad to see the back of this book. March did not quite turn out the way I had expected it to. It wasn't great, and so I guess the intention or the purpose for this mini book kind of changed. So at the start, when I started this project, it was going to be more about a self-image, sort of self-acceptance kind of project. I wanted to take a selfie every day and then document it in this book. I'm just going to take this off so it doesn't clang about as we're walking through here. And to start off with, that was exactly what it was. So there was a process video for how I put this book together, how I added the cover to it, and the first page here. But most of these don't have process videos because they are just quick little pages that I put together with whatever was sort of handy on my desk. It was a good project for using up little scrappy bits. There's some digitals in here from In a Creative Bubble, and some digitals of mine, and just little pocket page cards and washi tape, a few stickers, and that was really all it was. So I guess the reality is probably none of these pages did take me 31 minutes. That was one thing that I'm not sort of big on with rules like that. That was just a guideline for this project, and that's what I ended up doing. So some of these pages do have a full page photo and an accompanying page, and obviously some of them are just single pages as well. This is one of my favorite ones here, and I actually created, this is going to be a bad idea pulling it out of the pocket to show you, but that's the only way to show you. I created a little pocket page card, 4x6, a shaker card of its own. So I used some plastic packaging, slipped a piece of paper, this is pattern paper from, I think it's Rosie Studios, and a printable from In a Creative Bubble. I added some sequins. This was the February mix from the stamp spot, and then just stitched around the edges. And I do love that I can have a sequin page with a background and not have it show through onto the other side. So that was a fun little experiment. And that was the other thing with this book, is that a lot of it was about experimentation and playing. This is a really simple page. It was just a background paper, again by Rosie Studio. Again, another printable from In a Creative Bubble. Like I said, I was reusing and using stuff that was sitting on my desk, so I didn't necessarily clean up every day, so that's why there's a lot of repeats in here. And then this one, I attempted to do a little bit of mixed media in here. I added some clear gesso to the page and the watercolor on top, and it worked really nicely. It's really pretty, except it did leak really badly through the middle of the book. And you can see it on these like opposite spread. So next time I think I will definitely ditch the mixed media straight into the book and do it on a separate page instead. But otherwise I really love how this turned out. And again, this was like just some more simple pages. There was a lot of sort of rushing, catching up, I guess. Like part of the project was taking the selfie and remembering to do that. And so almost the creative side of it became sort of secondary. Some of them were a bit more intentional. Like this was intentionally about putting the whole of myself in a frame. I do take a lot of sort of, you know, head and shoulder selfies. That's what I'm comfortable with. So I was trying to push out of my comfort zone just a little bit. Didn't happen a lot, I can tell you. And again, things like the mirror selfie, I was trying to be a little bit more creative about how I took the selfie rather than just taking it. This one I used a self timer and set it up on my desk while I was creating, so that was something a little bit different. This page was a total cheat because I had already made this embellished bag. So I literally stuck it on the paper, added my selfie date, stamped it, and put it in the book. So definitely not 31 minutes worth there, but again, like I said, I wasn't playing by the rules as such. I love this page, and it's so hard to show it on camera because it's sort of shimmery. I used the add-on kit from, I want to say March from Citrus Twist, and there was a Heidi Swap specialty paper in there, and I used it as a stencil with some impasto gel and some Perfect Pearls powder, and stenciled through that onto the background and made this sort of shimmery background, and I super love that page. And this is where March sort of took a turn for the worst. I did this page together, and there is a process video for this one just because I had taken the selfies and I hadn't actually done the page in my book. This is where I sort of ended up stopping the creative side of it every day. I did manage to take a selfie every day for the month of March, but I didn't necessarily get every day done in the book at the time. I did have to go back and fill in a few pages, and this was one, and I recorded it at the time just because it struck me the difference between one day and the next and how things can change really quickly, and did for me. So we had some bad news on the Wednesday, and things just took a bit of a tumble from there. So this page also had a process video and was a little bit about that, mostly a little bit trying to bounce back from that news. I used this sort of creative time to try and balance myself back out a little bit. So there was a process video for this one as well. Oops, got a couple of stuck pages here. And then we had another shit day. And New Zealand, Christchurch had a terror attack, and it affected me really badly, probably worse because I was already a bit down from the week before, so it was really tough to even contemplate taking selfies at that point. It was not something I wanted to do or enjoyed doing, but I decided to keep going with this project. It was at this point that I decided to keep going rather than forget the whole thing entirely, and this is where this project changed. I just wanted a way to be present in what was happening, and taking a selfie each day was just a way of reminding myself that I'm here, I can get through this. There are shit times in all of our lives, and although sometimes you really don't feel like creating, and I don't think it's necessarily helpful to force yourself to, sometimes I think that spending that little bit of time on yourself and doing something, I guess, a bit frivolous, what some might say, is a really good way to get out some of the things that are going on in your head. So this was definitely where this project took a turn for here. And this was also where I did stop creating for a good week or so. And so that's why this page ended up being blank. I did this one, and then I had a blank page, and then I started taking photos a bit more intentionally again, and so I had to plan out the rest of my book and how that was going to fit, and that left this page blank. So post hastily came back and tried to create a page that would fit with the page I had already created. So this is it the All Heart collection? I can't really remember. I think it is from Create Paper. And I really loved this. I got sent the 6x8 pad. And so most of these things are just little pages. There was a couple of papers in here that I did some fussy cutting, and just went to town really. I think this is the middle of my book. And I did fold the paper over here. I was quite careful about sticking that in so that it still sits flat and it still folds, but it gives the middle of the book a little bit more strength. And another little page that's, it was really simple, but I love how it's turned out with the Spencer Outline Alpha from a Citrus Twist, and I used the transparency of the pocket to add in a little die cut scrap of paper. I didn't die cut that, it was in my scrap pan, so again, apart from the stamping, this didn't take very much time at all, and I was trying to get back to a little bit of self-care, I think. These were just some really simple pages. This here I did, again, I had these die cut stars on my desk and I've added them to, it's just a pocket page that I trimmed down to fit into here because I needed a way to stick these stars onto something transparent so that I could back them up with something else. I didn't want to just staple them onto the pocket page or anything. So I glued them onto another transparency. It's just a cut down pocket page and stuck that in, and it works really nicely. And then I wasn't sure how I was going to fill in the back of this page, but this star paper again from that All Heart collection, it worked really nicely. So it's a little bit of a star themed sort of page here. Oh, nothing. So this one's one of my favorites. It took me a long time to work out how to balance out having two photos, but FaceTime with Jack always cheers me up, and I'm assured that he behaves differently when he's on FaceTime with me too, so he knows me, and we spend a good deal of each week on FaceTime, so that's something I am very thankful for, not living in the same town as those two. Having that sort of constant contact really makes me smile. I used a whole bunch of the Pick Me Up collection. Just went to town with puffy stickers, chipboard, foam thickers. This was the last page that I completed in this book, so I knew the mini book, sorry, was already super thick. No harm in adding a little bit more thickness to it at that point. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, this wasn't the worst thing to happen in March, but it just sort of added to it. I had another really crappy day where my computer decided to die, and I lost about 3,500 of my photos from about last August. So managed to recover quite a lot of the things that I had lost over an entire day and a half sat at my computer, but yeah, it was still a pretty crap day really. So I didn't even manage a normal selfie. This was just a photo of my hand, and I'm just stuck it in there really to fill in the page because I didn't take that photo specifically for this project. I had taken it for Project Life, so it's in both places. I'm okay with that. It's the second day sitting at the computer, and coffee was definitely a big part of that. I've just finished a video, yeah, I think you've seen that already, of a page in my regular traveler's notebook, my pocket page notebook, about this day, and I did use the same photo, and again, I'm okay with having this photo documented in two places. I don't anticipate this being a book that I open up an awful lot. This was another really simple page. It's just white stamping on a photo, but it's actually one of my favorites. It turned out really nicely. I had started taking selfies again in sort of a proper sense, as in I put a bit more effort into it rather than just holding my phone up to my face and snapping a picture, and I wanted something that would replicate the mood that I was in, which was a little bit down. It was a rainy day. It just, you know how it is. And I took the photo, it matched my mood, and that's where my sort of journaling came from, and I really liked that. This is again another day where I didn't get a selfie taken. I've just used a photo of me holding some coffee, more coffee, story of my life, and again that's in a Project Life spread as well, so it is what it is. Trying really hard to be a bit more purposeful about the selfie taking anyway, as opposed to the creative side of it. This was just some scrap examples. I was testing out an idea I had for one of my pink paisley 12 by 12 layouts, and I had kept the test paper thinking I would use it somewhere along the line, and this just happened to be where I used it. So all I did was trim it down, stick my photo on top, and pop it into the pocket. You can see how hard it became to work on this album. It gets super fat and hard to lay flat. Again, this is all just a few little bits of scrap paper, but I really loved this blue rose. It really matched the tone of my photos, and I can't remember the brand, sorry. And then this was a selfie that I took in the morning. So I took this photo on the Friday morning, and on the Friday afternoon I got some bad news about one of my very good friends, and the day took a turn for the worst. And you'll have seen this quote maybe on one of the other pages that I've done in my regular traveler's notebook. You never know what is ahead of you. And I thought that was so appropriate, because that morning I was oblivious and feeling really good, and I sure didn't know the turn that was about to happen. So I just kept this one really simple, because at this point I didn't really want to go into details too much, so I was keeping it really simple. I added my 3x4 selfie onto some vellum and slipped that into the pocket, and then added the next day on top of that. So these two pages sort of work together. When you flip the page over, it hides that journaling, and this is that really cool battery stamp from the Citrus Twist April kit. Yes, that's right. And all I did was add running on empty. So and the last page, I managed to again force myself to do a little bit of self-care and take the last selfie. That was it. It was really just forcing myself to take the last one. And I did do a little bit of journaling. I echoed that same technique from the first page with the tag in there, because I really quite like the contrast between the difference of what I wanted this project to be and what it actually ended up being. So there isn't a lot of journaling or, you know, like writing in here. So I like that there is a start and a finish to this album. Give me a bit of perspective, a chance to sort of add some closure, I guess, to the month. And now that I have filmed this walkthrough, I can put this album away and start afresh with April, although we're well into April already, truth be told. But that's my intentions now, is to finish March with this, try to work through those things, leave them where they are, and start anew with April. Sorry this has taken such a depressing tone. It was a tough month, and all of your super kind support and comments through it have helped me indefinitely. Like you couldn't really imagine probably how vulnerable it is to share this stuff on the internet, and how rewarding it is to get back the kind of support and comfort that you have also shown me. So thank you so much for that. It means the absolute world to me. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching, guys. I super appreciate it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.